$400 million to Bankrupt in 45 minutes due to DevOps. I see, here's the deals. I knew DevOps was always fake. I just knew it. I could feel it. Terraform these nuts. I just don't believe you. I've never believed it. It doesn't exist. Prove me wrong. Someone, prove me wrong. Someone right now. Yeah, see? DevOps is fake. DevOps is fake. Hello, YouTube. Everybody, say hello. DevOps is a real thing. I don't know if you know this, but DevOps is real. It's actually real, and not only is it real, but people make their living off of it, and I find that when you make these insensitive... anyways, I was speaking at a conference last year on the topics of DevOps, fake, configuration as code, headaches, and continuous delivery, Dave Farley, and I used the following story to demonstrate the importance of making deployments fully automated and repeatable as part of DevOps/continuous delivery. Okay, it's CI/CD. It's not DevOps and continuous delivery initiative. Since that conference, I've been asked by several people to share the story through my blog. This story is true. It really happened. This is my telling of the story based on what I have read. I was not involved in this. This is a story of how a company went from nearly 400 million in assets to bankrupt in 45 minutes due to a failed deployment. If this ain't about Mt. Gox, I'm going to be sad. Knight Capital Group is an American global financial services, my wife reminds me of it, by the way, firm engaging in market making. I'm not sure what that means. Sounds risky and or illegal. Electronic execution and institutional sales and trading. In 2012, Knight was the largest trader in the U.S. equities market with around 17%. Whoa! Of the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. These nuts. NASDAQ. These nuts. I can't make it work out. I tried. I kept trying to go into it. NASDAQ nuts. Knight's Electronic Trading Group, ETG, managed an average daily trading volume of more than 3.3 billion trades daily, taking over $21 billion daily. Woo! That is quite the thing. On July 31st, 2012, Knight had approximately $365 million in cash and equivalents. I don't know what's equivalents. Does that mean stonks? What are equivalents? Liquid, it's cash, right? Oh, it's bonds. Gold, Birch Gold. By the way, this article brought to you by Birch Gold. Man, I gotta get a gold sponsorship. Imagine how good that would be right now if I could drop a gold sponsorship right now. Like if I could just drop a gold sponsorship, man, that would have been the single greatest play ever. The NYSE was planning to launch a new retail liquidity program, a program meant to provide improved pricing to retail investors through retail brokers like Knight. On August 1st, 2012, in preparation for this event, Knight updated their automated high-speed algorithmic router that sent orders into the market for execution known as SMARS. I already hate that that acronym, just so you know. SMARS. One of the core functions of SMARS is to receive orders from components of Knight trading platform, parent orders, and send the one or more child orders for execution. In other words, SMARS would receive large orders from the trading platform and break them up into smaller orders in order to find a buyer-seller match for the volume of shares. Yeah, that makes sense, because you can't just drop 1 million shares of something. You got to feed it in, right? You got to feed it into the dummies that are still buying while you're dropping bombs. You know what I mean? You got to be careful. The update to SMARS was intended to replace old unused code referred to as power peg. Nothing like a good old-fashioned power pegging. That's what I always say. I'm known for this. I'm known for this phrase, saying it. Functionality that Knight hadn't used in 8 years. Why code has been dead for 8 years was still present in the code base is a mystery because you don't remove code. Everybody knows that. Power peg was unused. Power pegging is the saddest day of all time. That code was, the code that was updated, repurposed an old flag that was used to activate the power peg functionality. The code was thoroughly tested and proven to work correctly and reliably. What could possibly go wrong? Man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay. What could go wrong? Indeed. You know, I've said this phrase. I have literally never said this phrase and been happy with whatever the result was. I've never said this phrase and then been happy. It's always sad. I always break something in production, What's the worst thing that could go wrong? Well, you bricked a couple devices for a couple days. I remember when we were replacing the network stack live in production at Netflix, like at some point, I was just like, screw it. We just got to do it. And it was so nerve-wracking that by the time I got done with it, I was just like, all right, what's the worst that could go wrong? Turns out, luckily, the only thing that went wrong that time is that we actually just didn't replace the network stack. And it would reload the app 3 times and then fail backwards. And so I was very happy about that despite failing to change the tires on a moving car, at least the spare was still attached and everything just worked. Between July 27, 2012 and July 31st, 2012, Knight manually deployed the new software to a limited number of servers per day, 8 servers in all. This is what the SEC filing says about manual deployment process. By the way, if there is an SEC filing about your deployment, something may have gone terribly wrong. Perfect. During the deployment of new code, however, one of the Knight technicians did not copy the new code to one of the 8 SMARS computer server. This is why you don't manually deploy at that level. If you have hundreds of millions of dollars of assets, figure out how to automate it. Pay somebody, pay 2 people, pay 5 people, okay? Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to get power pegged, okay? During the deployment of the new code, however, one of the Knight's technicians, weird also use the phrase technicians, did not copy the new code to one of the 8 SMARS computer servers. Knight did not have a second technician review this deployment, and no one at Knight realized that PowerPeg code had not been removed from the 8th server, nor the new RLP code added. Knight had no written procedures that required such a review. At 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on August 1st, 2012, the markets opened and Knight began processing orders from the broker dealers on behalf of their customers for the new retail liquidity program. And the 7 servers that had the correct SMARS deployment began processing these orders correctly. Orders sent to the 8th triggered a supposable repurposed flag and brought back from the dead the old PowerPeg code. Oh, yes! Attacks of the killer code zombies. It's important to understand what the dead PowerPeg code was meant to do. This functionality was meant to count the shares bought and sold against a parent order as child orders were executed. PowerPeg would instruct the system to stop routing child orders once the parent order was fulfilled. Basically, PowerPeg would keep track of the child orders and stop them once the parent order was completed. In 2005, Knight removed this cumulative tracking functionality to an earlier stage in the code execution, thus removing the count tracking from the PowerPeg functionality. Oh, no. They are about to get PowerPegged. When the PowerPeg flag on the 8th server was activated, the PowerPeg functionality began routing child orders for execution, but wasn't tracking the amount of shares against the parent order. Somewhat like an endless loop getting pegged. Oh, wait, hold on. Are you telling me that PowerPegged literally accidentally pegged the CPU in a wild true loop? Endless pegging. Like literally, PowerPegged got pegged. What is the chances? This is so good. 45 minutes of hell. Imagine what would happen if you had a system capable of sending automated high-speed orders into the market without any tracking to see if enough orders had been executed. Yes, it was that bad. When the market opened at 9:30, people quickly knew something was wrong. By 9:31, imagine 1 minute later, it was evident to many people on Wall Street that something serious was happening. The market was being flooded with orders out of the ordinary for regular trading volumes on certain stocks. By 9:32, many people on Wall Street were wondering why it hadn't stopped. Oh my goodness. This is the greatest time. Dude, imagine what you could do with like the put market. Like imagine if you were alive at this point and you saw all these orders flooding in and you just bought a put, right? Like you just bought a put at all and the stonk prices just started just going, oh, dude, oh man, this is so good. This was an eternity in high-speed trading terms. Why hadn't someone killed the kill switch on whatever system was doing this? As it turns out, there was no kill switch. No way! During the first 45 minutes of trading, Knight's executions constituted more than 50% of the trading volume, driving certain stocks up over 10% of their value. As a result, other stocks decreased in value in response to erroneous trades. Oh my goodness. To make things worse, Knight's system began sending automated email messages earlier in the day, as early as 8:01 when Smars had processed orders eligible for pre-market trading. The email message refers to Smars and identified an error as power peg disabled. Oh, it wasn't disabled. That power peg was on. You would think that somebody at this point was watching the system, right? You're about to go day 1, day 0 of a new trading functionality, and you're telling me that they didn't somehow catch it with an hour and a half of warning? Between 8:01 and 9:30 a.m., there was 97 of these emails sent to Knight personnel. Of course, these emails were not designated as system alerts, and therefore no one looked at them right away. Oh, the pre-pegging of the power pegging was painful enough. During the 45 minutes of hell that Knight experienced, they attempted several countermeasures and tried to stop the erroneous trades. There was no kill switch and no documented procedure for how to react, so they were left trying to diagnose the issue in a live trading environment where 8 million shares were being traded every minute. Oh my goodness, you're telling me you never built in like an oopsie-daisy handle. How does that happen, especially with high... What? Just unplug the server. Just RMRF it. Just kill it. Control-C, Control-D. Give them the D, give them the C, give them whatever you got to end that. Oh my goodness. Since they were unable to determine what was causing their erroneous orders, they reacted by uninstalling the new code from the servers it was deployed to correctly. In other words, they removed the working code and left the broken code. This only amplified the issue, causing additional parent orders to activate the power peg code. The power mode went over 9,000 at that point. It went to the full power pegging. The code on all the servers, not just the one that wasn't deployed to correctly. Eventually, they were able to stop the system after 45 minutes of trading. In the first 45 minutes, the market was open. The power peg code received and processed 212 parent orders. As a result, Smars sent millions of child orders into the market, resulting in 4 million transactions against 154 stocks for more than 397 million shares. For your stock market junkies, this meant Knight assumed approximately 3.5 billion net long positions in 80 stocks and 3.15 billion net short positions in 74 stocks. Oh, gosh, that makes me want to vomit. In layman's terms, Knight Capital Group realized a $460 million loss in 45 minutes. Remember, Knight has only $365 million in cash, and you must pay up right away. And equivalents. In 45 minutes, Knight went from being the largest trader in U.S. equities and a major market maker in the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ to bankrupt. They had 48 hours to raise the capital necessary to cover their losses, which they managed to do with a $400 million investment from around a half dozen investors. Oh my goodness. Knight Capital Group was eventually acquired by Getco LLC, December 12th, and the merged company is now called KCG Holdings. Man, whoever bought into that company was able to buy shares at such a cheap price. Think about how cheap they got to buy stock for. Oh, you need $400 million? Well, guess what? That dollar per share is going to have to, go down. It's going to have to go down. The events of August 1st, 2012 should be a lesson to all development and operations teams. It is not enough to build great software and test it. You also have to ensure its delivery to market correctly so that your customers can get value you are delivering, and you don't bankrupt your company. The engineers who deployed Smars are not solely to blame here. The process Knight had set up was not appropriate for the risk they were exposed to. Additionally, their process, or lack thereof, was inherently prone to error. Anytime your development process relies on human reading or following instructions, you are exposing yourself to risk. Absolutely. I would say that the only fault to the individual engineers was the fact that they did not push hard against this process, saying that it's crazy. Right? The managers are all to blame. The individual, everybody's to blame that no one took this. And anyone that did, then they're not to blame. The fact, man, humans make mistakes. The mistakes could be the instructions, the interpretation of instructions, or the execution of instructions. Yeah, deployments need to be automated and repeatable. Yep, as free from potential human error as possible. Had Knight implemented an automated deployment system, complete with configuration, deployment, and testing automation, the error that caused the Nightmare cutesy would have been avoided. A couple principles. Okay, you know what? I think the one thing that he didn't touch on, which is obvious, is a kill switch is a requirement. I cannot tell you. When I first started out at Netflix again. Netflix. We built a pretty large feature called Darwin Social Mountain. It was a reworking of a lot of the app's core infrastructure to be able to deliver and integrate with Facebook and be able to recommend videos with friends and all this. This was in 2013 to 2014. And one of the first things I built in was 2 features. One I called the slow clap, which I thought was a great name for a product, and it never took off, though it should have been. Now we call them slow rollouts. But I called it the slow clap, which was I used the customer's ID and a modulo operator and a salt to be able to deliver an A/B feature to just certain people. That way I could set it to 1, and 1% of all the customers would come in and get that feature. So that way we could measure to make sure we haven't screwed everything up. And 2, I had a kill feature, a kill flag. If I was going to do this gigantic test, I was going to ensure that I could kill the thing in case I royally screwed it up. It was awesome. It was awesome. Slow clap worked like a charm. We could see it happening. It was so sweet to do some modulo math. The only downfall, again, there was no continuation of the term the slow clap. That's really the saddest part of the whole thing. Is an amazing name for that. It is. It's the slow clap because it starts off with one person clapping, and then eventually everyone's clapping, and it's yeah, dude. It was so good. Let's see. Did you ever have to use the kill switch? No, but we did have it, and we did test it just to make sure. We allocated some people, started making it run, and then killed just to make sure that our kill switch would work. A 7 out of 8 article. Would read again. Oh, the wound hurts. The name is the power pagagen.